Well, hi, and welcome to the Fourthly Demo Day. I'm Brett Waters. I have lived in Silicon Valley my entire life, and I've been a serial entrepreneur, and today I teach entrepreneurship at Stanford University. I coach startup CEOs at the Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship, and I run the Fourthly Startup Accelerator. This morning, you are going to hear 3-minute pitches from 6 awesome new startups, and you'll be able to ask questions of them by typing them there into the little chat box. These entrepreneurs have been immersed together for the past 6 weeks in the Fourthly Startup Accelerator, and I think you're really going to enjoy seeing their 3-minute presentations. So, for most of my career, the global hub of innovation and entrepreneurship was Silicon Valley, right? This is where it all happened in terms of the computer revolution and the internet revolution. But the World Economic Forum says that we're now entering the fourth industrial revolution. And what makes this one different than all the previous industrial revolutions is that this one isn't happening around one place. It's happening all over the world. There are clusters of innovation and entrepreneurship all over the planet today. And that's what makes the fourth industrial revolution unique in human history. And the 6 startups that you are going to hear from this morning are examples of this. From Berlin, we're going to hear from CareFlick, a new startup with an AI-driven platform for caregivers with patients with autism and dementia. From London, we're going to hear about how Odd Circles has developed a new app for managing community groups. From Boulder, Colorado, we're going to hear from SWATNot about their revolutionary new educational technology platform. From the Upper West Side of Manhattan, we're going to hear about how Marco Fang has developed a new digital publishing platform for millennial foodies and travelers. And from Lima, Peru, we're going to hear about how Moresco is giving global opportunity to underprivileged kids. So, ladies and gentlemen, these 6 amazing entrepreneurs that you're going to hear from this morning are representative of what the World Economic Forum says is the fourth industrial revolution from all over the world. I'm super psyched about this. So let's get going. Joining us first is Abhishek. Morning, Abhishek.
Hi, Brett. Hi, everyone.
Where are you joining us from today?
Well, I'm from Berlin. I'm originally from India, but I recently moved to Berlin.
So today
And
you are in Berlin, Germany.
yeah,
Nice. So when I first interviewed Abhishek for this program, I immediately understood the problem that his startup solves. My wife and I went through the experience of my wife's dad needing 24/7 caregivers for 2 years. And so that process of, managing caregivers, it's a stressful thing. It's a stressful time in general. And then all of a sudden you're trying to manage caregivers, you're trying to make sure that they have all the resources that they need. You want the different caregivers on the different shifts to be able to communicate with each other so that everything about the patient is known and shared by all. It's a very stressful thing. And so when
yeah.
Abhishek told me about his new startup, I immediately said, I get it, and you are in the program. So
Thank you for having us. Yeah,
Abhishek, tell us more.
sure. Yeah. So, hi, everyone. I'm Abhishek. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Careflick. So, many of you would have, taken care of someone with special needs or has a chronic condition, or someone who is taking care of someone who has special needs. And there are so many challenges with caregiving today. Like caregivers are not aware about the condition that they are trying to manage. They are overwhelmed by the resources available on the internet, and they don't know which resources are right for them. There's emotional strain with caregiving. They face caregiver burnout, stress. Also, caregiving is super expensive. Like uh, today, an average family member spends about 30% of his annual income in taking care of his or her loved one. And there's a high attrition rate, there's a high turnover rate in this industry. Like professional setups, they experience attrition rate as high as 60%, and in home care setups the attrition rate is as high as 70%. So what we are trying to do at CareFlick is we are trying to assist caregivers with personalized care plans, which are combination of therapies and activities, which how to do those therapies, when to do those therapies, how often to do those therapies, and you'll also be assisted by a digital assistant. We also want to educate caregivers through personalized suggestion of content like articles, podcasts, videos, so that you can educate yourself about the condition you're trying to manage, and also connect caregivers with other caregivers who are in social platform, so that in a similar situation, so that you can create your personalized support group and also connect with other experts you can consult with, like relevant experts. This market is huge, and in our phase one, we are trying to solve it for dementia and autism, and we are only targeting English speaking countries. So, in year one of our launch in 2023, we aim to acquire 85,000 customers. Of course, there are other players in the market, but using cutting edge technology and with a solid clinical team, we have found like a perfect fit, how efficiently we can solve it for caregivers as compared to other players in the market. And our revenue model is simple. The idea is to make caregiving super affordable and accessible. So imagine efficient caregiving costing as little as a Netflix subscription. So it's just $10 a month, and there's also going to be like a commission on each consultation caregivers book on our platform. By 2025, we aim to acquire 1.35 million customers, and that's when we touch a revenue of 50 million. And there's a steady growth from 2023, 2024, and 2025. And we have a solid team, we have a solid track record, and everyone on our team is aligned with this vision to make this world a better place for people with special needs and their caregivers. So that's all about us at CareFlick. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Awesome, Abhishek. So, as I said, this is something that really resonated for me personally. And what are you doing to make sure that you are building a platform that kind of is aligned with what caregivers actually need?
Oh, we have. So I come from a healthcare background. So I've worked in the dementia care space for the last
Hmm.
6 years. So I've interacted with a lot of care attendants and nurses on the ground who are taking care of residents with elders with dementia. I've also interviewed 100 plus family members who have dementia. And similarly, we are doing the same thing for people with autism. Like we are interviewing young parents. In a way, we are co-creating the platform with caregivers.
Perfect. That's a great answer. And Jason asks about the technology. I think you mentioned that this is kind of a digital first platform or mobile
Yes.
first platform, but tell us a little bit more about the technology.
Yes. So we are using AI to solve this, to
Hmm.
personalize. So caregiving is more efficient when it is tailored to the patient and caregiver's needs, right? So we are using data to create social and psychological profile of the patient as well as that of the caregiver, and we are collecting data through the app on a daily basis so that we recalibrate the suggestions that we make, recalibrate the care plans. And this is how the backend in our backend, how the ML and the NLP engine works, and also the recommendation engine, how that works in sync.
Yeah, that's great. I'm fond of saying that the 20th century was about mass production, and the 21st century is about mass personalization, and that anybody could put together a resource library for caregivers of people with dementia. But what's really meaningful and helpful is to get personalized content based on what the AI engine knows about the caregiver and what the AI engine knows about the patient, right?
Exactly, exactly.
And so that's terrific. Abhishek, thanks very much, and good luck on the venture.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so next up is Ash. Where are you
Hello.
this morning, Ash?
Hi, I'm joining in from London.
London. I love London. London is known for the street tacos, right?
It is indeed.
So when I first interviewed Ash for the program, and he started talking about managing community groups, my mind immediately went back to my days as a parent, where I was organizing the soccer teams for my kids. I was organizing parent group meetups. I was helping my kids organize various meetups around topics that they wanted to participate in. And so I know firsthand that this whole thing of managing groups is not easy. And I did it just using spreadsheets because that was the tool I know. But when Ash started telling me about his purpose-built mobile app for this, I immediately said, "That's cool. I like that." So Ash, tell us more.
Sure. So, looking after hundreds of thousands of members spread across multiple communities, for example, as Brett mentioned, single moms group, book clubs, entrepreneurs in London, etc., etc. I realized that there is no mobile first, effective, flexible, unified platform available for us to look after our community and events. The ones currently available for us are either too expensive, too time consuming, or hard to manage. Typically, a community manager or an event host spend more than 16 hours a week to manage their communities. They tend to spend more than $300 in a year. And even after spending that much money, they end up managing their communities and events at different platforms. And to solve this problem, we created mobile first, purposely built, unified, easy to use platform, Odd Circles. As it is a mobile first platform, you can do anything and everything when it comes to managing your community and events. As you can see that this market is huge. So we will be focusing on our serviceable obtainable market, which is $0.5 billion at the moment. We have a really simple revenue model. A user downloads the app, registers on it, and then creates a community. Once he or she creates the community, they subscribe to one of our available plans. Currently, uh, you have one $49 a year plan available on our platform, but we will be introducing more plans going forward. So it's basically a subscription based platform. As you can see on our product roadmap, we are about to launch our iOS app on App Store. And once we are done with it, we will be focusing on our next quarter's goal, which is to acquire more than 5,000 paid customer on our platform. I believe that we have the strongest team with required skill set to take and grow this startup into a next unicorn. And I believe that with the help of all the skill sets we have, we will be able to acquire more and more resources and talents into the company to progress further. And if you are interested, please get in touch at ash@oddcircles.com. Thank you. I'll happy to take questions.
Very nice, Ash. Very nice. So, give us a couple examples of the functionality so that we understand the functionality. Ash, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Give us some examples of the functionality.
Sure. So one of the biggest challenge right now, if you're managing your community on one of our competitors platform like Meetup, if I'm an event host and I'm going out and I want to inform my meetup group members that the event is postponed for 1 hour or canceled for some reason, I have to email them. There's no functionality where I can click on a button and notify them on their mobile phone that okay, this event has been postponed or something has been changed. And that is something we are introducing the push notification directly to the users, and that is limited to 3 so that we can stop spammers. But also we are introducing subscription plan for the communities. For example, if Brad is running a community and he's taking all the costs, he's absorbing all the costs for running that, he might be able to go out and say, okay, we are 100 members in the community. Why don't we put all $1 each? And then it will help our community grow. so that he can create a subscription plan for other members.
Awesome. And then we have a question coming in about you have some early users. You've had some terrific 5-star reviews. So tell us a little bit about kind of the users so far and any metrics that you have on how the ways in which they're using it, number of members, etc.
Sure. So you will be surprised to know that we have spent literally 0 pence on any kind of marketing. The only marketing, or I should say content marketing, we have done is organic on search engines. And most of our users come to our platform searching for an alternative to the competitors because they're looking for more reliable feature and easy to use platforms. So users we have is people who run small book clubs. Users we have is people who run small clubs where single people can go and meet and connect with people, or expats who are immigrant in the country who wants to make more connections in the local society. So these kind of primary user personas we have at the moment.
Awesome. Ash, thank you very much. Great presentation, and best of luck with the venture.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was pretty awesome. And next up, we've got Alicia and Kitty. So when I first interviewed Alicia and Kitty, and they mentioned educational technology, I had a combination of excitement and post-traumatic stress syndrome. Because I spent 6 years on the board of the Stanford University Graduate School of Education. So I spent 6 years kind of immersed in the whole world of how do we improve K-12 education, and perhaps most importantly, not only improve K-12 education, but also how do we address the achievement gap, right? The fact that consistently poor kids don't do as well academically as rich kids. So how do we close that gap? This is one of the biggest questions of our time. And basically, I concluded my 6 years of immersion in K-12 technology, K-12 education technology, by deciding it's hard. Everybody's got opinions about how to improve education and how to close the achievement gap, but it's hard. And a lot of people have tried and failed at educational technology that'll help to address these issues. So when I met Kitty and Alicia, I first of all totally understood what they were working on, and after about 10 minutes of conversation, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not sure how to solve this, but I am sure that if anybody can figure it out, it's these two women right here, because they are remarkably smart and passionate. So, Kitty and Alicia, tell us more. Kitty, we're not hearing you. You're muted.
Oh,
There
I'm
we
sorry.
go.
I thought Veronica unmuted me.
There we go. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, sorry about that, Brett. Thanks. Hi again, and welcome to SWOTNOT. I'm Kitty, and this is Alicia, my co-founder. So I founded SWOTNOT to connect out-of-work teachers with students who are struggling during the pandemic. At the same time, I was actually enrolling my kiddo in online school, and I thought, this is ridiculous. This is online education today? No way. There has got to be a better way. So off I went to find a better way. And on my way, I met Alicia through a mutual friend. We clicked. We are highly complementary, as I'm all about fixing online education, and she is all about education. She, in fact, has a PhD in education, has taught for over 20 years, created, founded, and sold her own tech academy to a university. I, on the other hand, have been chugging away as an engineer, consultant, and attorney. However, I do bring a CYA and eyes on the prize perspective to the company. There is a lot of competition out there. EdTech has a lot of startups and corpses. However, we've identified an undeveloped market that is ripe for exponential growth. And this is where we can meet the growing educational needs of the world and capitalize on the explosive use of mobile for online learning. Our proprietary platform exploits the holes in the current system and lays the foundation for future build-outs and substantial growth.
With a EdTech being the new kid on the IT block, in 2030, we will see it growing to $1 trillion market shares and online global tutoring to more than 250 billion US dollars. Our approach to enter this market is to use technology in a unique way, aiming to overcome the shortcomings of traditional education systems, which are considered, and I'm sure all agree, outdated to say the least, and unequal in most respects. With the final goal to have user-centered, personalized educational experience for both student, but as well for the tutors. Last year, SWOT-NOT's algorithm and methodology were accepted as an educational concept at the Worldwide Education Forum. And as part of our mission to make education available to all and bring equality, we distributed SWOT-NOT to a group of girls in Afghanistan and also rolled it out to the Ukraine during beta testing. In September, SWOT-NOT launched our MVP globally, and in the past month, we have onboarded more than 80 tutors from more than 10 different countries, and we are actively recruiting students to use our platform. Our feedback so far has been incredible, and it gives us the confirmation that our methodology, concept, UI, and UX is in line with what people need.
We've identified an initial niche market, educators with current students, and then we'll move to all educators. And then we can go to schools, businesses, organizations, and corporations with an option of white labeling. SWOT-NOT is integrated education for better learning and earning. Join us.
Very nice. Very nice. As I said, I think this is, something that everybody, you don't have to be in education for having passion for how we can improve education, right? And of course, I always say that, once you become a parent, everyone is passionate about education. So, tell us a little bit about the kind of the rollout strategy. What markets are we going to focus on first, and then what markets after that, et cetera?
So our initial market will be attracting tutors with a current cohort of students. It's easy. They, for whatever reason, either economically or their time commitment, don't have time to engage with a learning management system. So we're providing that for them. So they can, for all intents and purposes, create a micro school with their current students. So that's our tutor section that we're going for our initial tutor market. And then our initial student market will be based in the US, where we're going to attract parents with our algorithm. So Alicia, do you want to speak on the algorithm really quickly on how we're personalizing learning?
Yeah. So basically what we have noticed is that most people, when they learn online, it's much more different than when you're doing it in the classroom. And also when you're learning online, there's also quite a mixture of students with different learning abilities and also different ways of learning. So we created an algorithm that will basically take the learning style and the tutoring style, and then it will map it together. So if you are a visual learner, let's say, for instance, then you will get a teacher that will teach you in the way that you will learn.
So that's our unique selling point currently for the US market for students and parents who are looking for tutors online.
Right. Awesome. And what's the best way for people to contact you?
SWOTNOT.com. Kitty
SWOTNOT.com. There we go.
Kitty at SWOTNOT, Alicia at SWOTNOTs.
Just search SWOT-NOT. You'll find us.
Perfect.
Yeah, we have,
right.
yeah.
Thanks very much, guys. That was awesome. Okay, so next up we have Diego. Hang on just one second while I get Diego on the screen. Hey, Diego.
Hey, Brett. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good too. Thank you.
So, I always say that, some people think that to have a successful startup, you need to think of something that nobody else has thought of, right? You need to go into some brand new market, you need to create a brand new category. And I actually think that is incorrect. I think that's mythology, because it's much easier to go into an existing category where there's existing demand, and now you just have to be better in some way. That's much easier than trying to create demand where there isn't currently any. And so I think some of the most exciting opportunities for entrepreneurs around the world today have to do with bringing new digital technologies to large existing industries, large existing sectors, right? Because the demand's already there. Now we just have to be better. We have to be more modern. We have to be more agile. We have to do a better job of understanding customer needs. And so when I first interviewed Diego and his co-founder Enrique, and they told me about freight forwarding and the container shipping business, and that they were going to kind of bring Uber like simplicity and transparency to the container shipping business. I immediately thought, I love this. I love anybody who's simply bringing new, more efficient ways of doing something that is already being done to the tune of trillions of dollars, right? Because shipping around the world is a huge market. So we don't have to create demand for shipping. That's already there. Now all we have to do is come in with a new and better digital platform to serve the shipping market. So I was pretty psyched about that. And Diego, with that long-winded intro, tell us more.
Okay, well, first of all, good morning to you all, and thank you for taking the time to listen to us. My name is Diego Alvarez, co-founder of EasyPorts, a digital freight forwarder innovating the industry. For those of you who may not know what a freight forwarder is, it's basically an international logistics company in charge of getting products from point A to point B, covering one or more services implicated in the supply chain. Right. Let me tell you that the international commerce has a value in Mexico that exceeds the $1 trillion, and it's still growing year after year. So what's the problem? The world has evolved and it works at a new speed now. Nevertheless, the supply chain is still managed the same way it's been for the last 30 years. Okay, this means that there are problems to be solved, such as lack of transparency. For one operation, there are 100 of email chains between different service providers, loss of important documentation, no real tracking. There's almost no tech implementation in the industry. So EasyPorts solves these problems. With our unique platforms, our clients will be able to have instant quotations, real tracking, document all in one place, live notifications for each player involved in the supply chain, and data analysis to mitigate risks every step of the way. Who's our target market? Basically all importers and exporters, no matter the size of the company, shipping point, commodity. There's millions of shipping containers shipped not only in Mexico, but globally. EasyPorts now, basically, we've been working since January. We have a revenue above the $1.2 million, and we're profitable right now. So this was achieved by a team that has more than 6 years of experience in the market. And you can see we have competitors, but we're the ones that are innovating into the digital era of the freight forwarding. Basically, what we want to accomplish from now to 2 years, right now we've been bootstrapping, but in 2 years, we want to expand through Europe and Latam. We're asking for $500,000, and on our 2-year plan, what we want to accomplish is get from 10 clients to 131, and from a revenue of $1.2 million to $20.4 million. Thank you again for listening to me. My name is Diego Alvarez from EasyPorts, and I'm happy to answer all of your questions.
Nice, Diego. So, Diego, I was thinking while you were presenting, I was thinking about how, I'm used to Silicon Valley startups where, when you ask, when do you expect to turn profitable? Their answer is usually, maybe late year 3 or maybe year 5. And so the fact that you guys launched, this year and you're already at a run rate over $1 million and you're profitable, that's really pretty extraordinary.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, so Paul Graham, the co-founder of Y Combinator, he wrote a great essay where he talked about how startups are either default dead or default alive, meaning if you couldn't raise any more money, could you survive? Are you profitable, in other words? Or are you default dead, meaning without raising more money, you're hosed.
Yeah.
And so, the fact that you're in this position where you are already profitable and now you are kind of considering taking outside investment in order to scale up more quickly, that's kind of the perfect position to be in. So,
Yeah.
congratulations on that.
Thank you, Brett.
So we have a question coming in that's a great one about the sales process. So one of the things that can kill a startup is a long sales process, right?
Yeah.
If you have to meet with a prospective customer, 6 times before you finally get them signed, get a signed deal with them as a customer, that can be a killer. And because a lot of your customers are, I assume, they're kind of larger companies that do a lot of
Correct.
container shipping, and so sometimes that can mean long sell cycles. So can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, as we are a B2B, it usually takes about 2 to 3 months, depending on the internal process of the clients, but that's the average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, as anybody who's taken my Stanford class knows, every venture distills down to one particular equation, which is customer acquisition cost against lifetime value of a customer. So a long sell cycle, which means an expensive sell cycle, is fine as long as the lifetime value of a customer once you have the customer is high enough that it offsets what it costs you to get the customer, right? So I think you said a 2 to 3 month sell cycle. And then
Correct.
once you have a customer, how much do you make from them? What do you figure the lifetime value of a customer is?
It normally, like, we project it to a year, but honestly, as long as we're providing a good service and we're competitive, I mean, we can have it for a long run.
But in terms of dollars, what's that lifetime value?
Oh, in dollars. Okay. It's about 250K, more or
Oh,
less.
oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So then it's easily worth a 3 month sell cycle to get a customer, if that customer is worth $250,000 to you once you get them.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Very nice. All right, Diego, thank you very much. That was perfect. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brett.
Best of
Have a
luck with the
nice day.
venture. Okay. All right, so now we're going to move to the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and we're going to talk to Marco. Morning, Marco.
Good morning, Brett. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So my wife and I are kind of semi-retired empty nesters, which means we like to travel because that's, when you get to the point in life when the kids are grown up and they're off doing their thing, that's when you want to, get the hell out of the house and do some traveling, which you couldn't do when you had all those rugrats around. And, many of the sources of content around travel are really oriented or targeted toward people like me and my wife, right? So you think of magazines like Travel and Leisure, they're really focused on the retired crowd, right? And a lot of the travel publications are around that. And so when I met Marco and he told me about his new digital publishing platform that is targeted at millennials who love to travel and love food, I thought to myself, that is an awesome idea because, I know because I have kids who fit this description. I have kids who are millennials who love to travel and are total foodies. And so the fact that Marco has launched a startup with content aimed exactly at that high value demographic excited me. So Marco, tell us more.
Perfect. Thank you, Brett. Hey, guys. Good morning. I'm Marco. So today I'm introducing you all to a brand new publishing platform in travel, food, and crafts. First things first, some info about myself. I'm based in New York City. I'm a wanderlust, a foodie, and an SEO geek. In the past 5 years, I've worked with many brands from e-commerce platforms to publishers to increase their organic traffic from Google, which is also one major traffic sources for our site. I love traveling, as you can see from all the pictures on the screen. I started traveling about 5 years ago when I first came to the state. Whenever I travel, I use Google search to find inspirations and tips and stuff, which can be very overwhelming. As you can see here, in the search result of Google and other search engines, you see features directly from Google, you see top stories, you will see social feeds from Twitter, and you will see lots of content from publishers. Don't get me wrong, I love those articles from publishers, but sometimes they're just so difficult to understand. They're so wordy, and you're bombarded with walls of text right away. And that reveals the problem that we're all facing today as internet users. We're simply overwhelmed by the amount of information and content out there. And most of them was created at scale without really thinking about your intent or your experience. The solution is simple. It's to create premium, easy to understand, and intent-oriented content that helps you to achieve your goals. And that's exactly what we're doing here. And this is a screenshot of one article that we wrote recently about the Halloween parade upcoming in New York City that has all the info that you need to know as a first timer in the Big Apple. And this is a feature that we're developing right now and refining that really tries to revamp your digital experience when it comes to content discovery and consumption. Our target audiences are young, curious, and adventurous. So like they are, at the prime stage of their life, they are very excited about what's going on or what is, ahead of them in their life stages. And when they transition to their late 20s or early 30s, and they will make more money, which means higher buying power and more opportunities for brands and our publishers. And our editorial voices are very energetic, and that really resonate with this segment. Versus our competitors, they tend to target an older population, typically folks that are married with kids or are retired. So targeting such a high value and promising and dynamic segment is really a big differentiator for our brand. The space of travel and publishing is huge. So right now we're adopting a location-based strategy. So we're focusing on New York, Hawaii, Las Vegas, and California at this moment, where we have seen a lot of success from when it comes to traffic and revenue, and we're going to expand to more cities and states and countries in the future. As a publisher, we make money by optimizing our content and monetizing our traffic. So we were able to build an audience of 3 million users per year with no outside capital. And our ad revenue per 1,000 impressions is between 40 to 50 bucks. And our time on page is 5 minutes. The industry standard is 52 seconds, which means our users are really engaged with our content and experiences. The longer they stay on the pages, the more ads they will review, and the higher chance, we'll get them converted through our affiliate links. And here is our financial performance right now without any outside money. As you can see, we're growing and thriving, and we're ready to raise some outside capital and scale the platform up. And lastly, you cannot do it all without amazing team. And here are the 3 folks on our team. We have myself, we have Taro, a travel lifestyle editor from Seattle, and Olivia, an artist from Shanghai, who has done a lot of amazing illustration for our site. And lastly, here are our recent awards in the space of publishing and creativity. And that's it. That's all we do here. I hope this is helpful. And if you have questions, let us know, or feel free to contact us at this email. Thank you.
Marco, awesome. So, Marco, you may remember that when I first interviewed you, you told me about your platform, and I said, yeah, okay, that's cute. And you said, and you've got 3 million active users. And I thought, whoa, how much outside capital have you raised? And you said 0. And I was like, okay, so if this guy already has 3 million users and he's completely bootstrapped, has raised no outside capital, then he's doing something right. So Marco, what is your secret?
is the secret is simple. Like there's no secret sauce. It's really to understand your readers and provide whatever information that makes them happy. Plus my 5 years of experiences in SEO, of course, helps to get our content and information out there. But essentially, I think the secret sauce, if there is any, is to really understand what the readers are looking for when they are searching a specific query in Google, which is something that publishers these days, they don't really care about because they have to do things at scale. But in summary, the intent, the goal of your readers is the secret sauce of getting traffic.
Understanding the intent and the goal of your readers
Yeah.
is the secret sauce to getting traffic. Marco, I'm going to have you come give a guest lecture in my Stanford course because
I'm happy to do it.
that is very spot on. It's very spot on. I also, Marco, I want to give you kudos, public kudos for a minute, because I understand that when you first came here to go to grad school at Columbia, that you had to, in order to go to grad school at Columbia, you had to take the English proficiency test. And I understand that you failed.
Yes, I failed
And now-
miserably for a few times. Yeah.
And now for a few times.
Yes.
And now just a short few years later, here you are giving a presentation to thousands of people in English. So I just want to give you kudos for that, because that is not an easy thing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So nice job. Okay,
Thank
Marco,
you.
all the best.
Thanks.
All right. So last up is Jonathan. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning. How's it going, Brett?
It's going well. So it's a pretty amazing group of entrepreneurs you've been immersed with the last 6 weeks.
Fantastic entrepreneurs.
Really, really a great group. I've had a good time with these folks. So I've spent 15 years working as a volunteer at the Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship, which is basically a startup accelerator program for social ventures, for startups that are focused on impact, startups that want to change the world. And so I've had a lot of experience working with social entrepreneurs, working with the passion-driven entrepreneurs who create a social venture because they want to change the world. And so I can tell you that as a general rule, these tend to be people who are long on passion and short on business savvy. And so when I first met Jonathan, I was totally all in on the fact that Jonathan is both long on passion for having a positive impact on the world. Jonathan's also a very, very savvy businessman. He's run several businesses. He knows what he's doing. And so that combination for me, that combination of having the passion to want to create a social venture that he can run and scale and have positive impact on the world, combined with the fact that he's a very successful business guy, very experienced guy, knows how to do this stuff, was incredibly impressive to me. So, Jonathan, tell us more.
Thank you. So I've been working closely with communities in rural areas of Peru for the last few years. And I always see people saying that they should do something, not talking about other people when they see a problem with the world. So I thought it was time for us to do something about it, or for us to be they. A common theme that I'm seeing in these communities in rural areas is that of abandonment. These communities have been abandoned by the government and by society. Children in these communities also abandon school to help their houses economically. And when they come of age, they abandon the communities themselves, looking for a dignified life because they cannot get it there. There's really little hope for change in these communities. They lack the tools, they lack the knowledge to do so. So future generations are trapped. What we're doing is we're equipping these teenagers to get the necessary tools and the knowledge, not only for their own success, but to develop these communities and hopefully support future participants in our program. Merezco is a social enterprise. We're trying to solve this sustainably and hopefully soon scalably. What we do is we're sending deserving, high potential teenagers to a development bootcamp abroad. Here, they will go to a world-class university to get a degree. They will intern at a great corporation, but most importantly, they will be exposed and learn the perspectives or really the mindset of a developed society. Hopefully this will encourage them to model these behaviors when they come back to their communities. Merezco is not in the business of handouts, but rather hand-holding. This is an example where Maria Lara, which is from Bernales, will be experiencing this incredible opportunity in Australia. Merezco has identified partners that have a vested interest in seeing this program go through. So Equifax, for example, and the University of Queensland will be our partners abroad. Locally, Agromijiva will be helping with the local logistics. This model allows this to be with no third-party sponsorship. So this is self-sufficient. And additionally, graduates of this program usually commit to also helping a future participant. What we have installed for this coming year is adding more communities. Currently, we have 2 communities that we're helping. We want to get to 10. We're adding 2 new abroad programs to Europe, adding local partners. But more importantly, we're going to be releasing a platform that will allow us to be scalable, that will allow the candidates themselves to build their programs and to connect with partners. We believe this deployment will allow us to explode in growth, and we'll be able to reach underserved communities all over the world. If you have any interest in partnering with Merezco, please reach out to us. That's our website. Thank you.
Terrific, Jonathan. So, as I said before, I have some experience working with social enterprises, and scaling can be a challenge, right? It's having impact on one village or one small group of people is one thing. Being able to scale that impact up to really bend the curve globally is a whole different thing. So talk to us about your scaling plans and how you see this.
So we were actually very pleasantly surprised when we were able to prove the sustainability factor, that we can actually send this youth, the young kids abroad, with this incredible opportunity, with a world-class education, work experience, and we're able to do so without outside funding, without outside sponsorships. So this was fantastic. But what also surprised us maybe was the amount of work that was going to be needed to build these programs, to get in touch with the partners, to work out the details. No, the devil's in the detail. So what we want to do is dedicate more of our resources to expanding and being able to participate more kids in this program. And right now, our resources are going more towards this coordination and the program building. So this actually what we've been working on now is building this platform to where we automate and partially offload some of this program building work to the candidates themselves. No, and we feel that that's the solution to the scalability problem, because we have already solved the sustainability problem.
Yeah, that's good. And I love the fact that part of your model is that a kid, a youth who you sponsor to go study and work abroad, that the expectation is that they come back to their community afterwards and become a mentor for new participants in the program. So
mentor, and also Yeah, a mentor, and also probably they will want to support economically if they need
Sure.
throughout this process for a future participant, and that's key in our concept, because what we do mainly is we want to change their mindset, and
Right.
and that the destiny is in their hands, no, and that there's we don't believe in existentialism.
Right. 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 Yeah, I absolutely love this in every way. My kids had the opportunity to study and work abroad, and for anybody who has had the opportunity to study and work abroad, you know what a transformative experience it can be. You take a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old, and you give them a chance to go study and work abroad. It can be transformative. And so, if it's transformative for well-off kids, think about how transformative it can be for poor kids, for underprivileged kids, right? And so
Exactly.
the fact that you are bringing that to the lives of underprivileged kids, I think is remarkably admirable, and perhaps more importantly, it's remarkably impactful in what it can do. That I've personally come to believe that kind of the traditional model of charity is broken, right? That just sending in some food to poor kids doesn't really solve the systemic issues, the generational issues. And a program like yours, like Moresco's, is exactly the kind of thing that can solve generational poverty. So kudos for all your work on that. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Brett.
All right. I hope you all enjoyed those 6 presentations as much as I did. Really, really great stuff. If you want to hear more, I have a couple of different avenues for you to pursue. One is that if you go to fourthly.com and you click on current cohort, you will see a short description of each of the entrepreneurs who presented today. And you'll also find a link to a Medium article that I've written about each of them and the work that they're doing. Also, if you'd like to contact any of them, they are all on LinkedIn, so you can find them on LinkedIn and contact them that way, or send me an email at brett@fourthly.com, and I'll be happy to make a direct introduction for you, because I'd love to have your help in supporting these entrepreneurs in whatever way that you can. If there are introductions you think you can make for them, if there are thoughts and advice that you think would be helpful to them, or if you are an investor or know somebody who'd be interested in investing in a startup like this, please let me know. Send me an email to brett@fourthly.com, and I'd love to connect you with them, because there's nothing more valuable to early stage entrepreneurs than introductions, help, referrals, input. So please reach out to them one way or the other and give them that. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days today in order to attend the autumn 2022 edition of the Fourthly Demo Day. See you, everybody.